So in this video, I wanted to look at a really cool pen from Rotring, and that is the Jazz. This is a pen from I believe the early 90s, kind of when Rotring was really doing its thing quite well and making its best pens, a lot of which were just really phenomenal. And I think Rotring is highly regarded during that time. It's when I first started to learn about the company and when they made most of the products that people are really still hunting down now, like the Rotring 600s and some of those. So the Jazz is a full-size rollerball pen, retractable, push button, super well made, really nice design, and it's not nearly as popular today as the Rotring 600 or the Newton, but it's kind of a fairly collectible pen. So just wanted to run through it. These things are available fairly regularly on eBay. You'll see the prices range on the high side at about $180, and that you're looking for like a new old stock one with the box, with the papers, mint condition, just factory perfect. Given that it's like 20 plus years old, that's pretty impressive, and maybe it justifies the price tag, maybe it doesn't. On the low side, used, if you do some hunting, you could buy these things for about $25, $30. So I tend to buy them at the low end. If you want to spend more, totally up to you. They're sold in silver, blue, which is fairly rare, green, which is pretty easy to find, and maybe one or two other colors, but primarily you're seeing the silver and the green, a couple of the blue. Let's get into the pen. Again, it's full size rollerball, so it's on the large side, but not gigantic. Metal body, metal cutouts here in the grip, metal cone, metal clip, metal button, oversized button, and then of course the red ring, which is Rotring's signature. It says Rotring here on the clip, and there's really not much else to it. What really identifies the Jazz as being the Jazz is these cutouts here, and that's just in the body. There's these little square pieces that were cut out, and you could just gives you a little bit of grip. There's nothing in them. You just a little bit of the chrome metal that's under it. So it's like a 2-layer body. It's almost like the Lamy Swift has a similar design, but obviously it came later than this one. Metal cone, sort of a blunted end. I think it looks pretty cool. And then longer button. Schmidt has used this long button design with some of their rolled walls. I find it to be a little bit annoying because the throw here is more than you might expect, but it's really not that much of a problem. It says Germany there, Rotring, and then really not much else. The way the pen works is you push the button as you would expect, and then you can let it go or retract it by pushing the clip. Pretty slick design. We've seen that before in other pens, but it is nice to see it here. You can push the button here, that works as well, but it's really nicer to do it like this. Much more interesting. The button does need a big push. If you just go sort of halfway, it's not gonna go. So you really have to push it and get it all the way back. I've seen people criticize the Jazz for requiring such an extended push, and you can see how far it goes out when you're fully pushing it. It looks a little bit ridiculous, but really not that big of a deal. You just need to push it with some conviction. And again, you could push it and click it, or push it. Either will work. Opening the pen up, you'll see it's really straightforward. Again, it's really a lot like the Swift from Lamy, is that it's a full-size rollerball pen. The front cone piece opens up, and there's really not much else to it. The Swift even has sort of a complex clip mechanism, and that one, when you push the button, the clip hides into the body. This doesn't do that, but it's a similar concept. Inside, we see spring, no surprise there, and then it uses a full-size capless rollerball refill. So in this case, I have a Schmidt, and then I'm using the 8120. So that's the 1.0 millimeter from the 812X series. You most commonly see these refills in the P size, and that's the shorter size. It would take maybe a centimeter, I think, or maybe 2 centimeters, I forget what it is, off of the end of this pen. And that's the refill, like a P8127, that would come with something like a Retro 51 Tornado. This pen, we could use the full size one, much less common, but it's a good application for that, for these like really great Schmidt capless refills. Again, I'm using the 8120. You could use the 8127, 8126. Whether you want 1.0 millimeter, the 8127 is 0.7 millimeter, the 8126 is 0.6 millimeter. I did a video explaining the whole thing if you care. But again, full size Schmidt refill will go in here. You can use it full size rollable refill from another manufacturer, Waterman or anyone, but this one works great. And you can see the way the spring works. It even goes and it hides. Sorry about that. It even goes and it hides inside the recessed part of the body, just like that. It's clearly the refill, or the type of refill this pen was made to work with. Not much to see in here, except that this is fully metal with no plastic parts. And even though this pen is, 20 plus years old, it's nice, smooth action. You just have to make sure you're pushing the button all the way. But you definitely get used to it. This is like on the long side for a roller ball. And just by way of comparison, we'll put it up against a Sharpie. You can see longer than the Sharpie. Put it up against something like a Pilot G-Knock. Try to really line this up. A little bit longer than the G-Knock. And here it is against a full-size Safari. It's longer than the Safari as well. So it's not a small pen. It's not gigantic. You're not going to be shocked by how big this thing is. But you can see it's got a good 1/2 inch on an uncapped Safari. If you like a capped Safari, then that's bigger. But yeah, so it's a good sized pen. It's got a nice solid feel to it, nice weight, and again, very collectible. I think the Jazz is one of the more interesting pens from Rotring. And there's a couple different variations. There's one that's not called the Jazz. That it's just, I don't actually know the official name, but it's the Jazz without the grip cutouts. And I don't know if it was a limited edition or some sort of test model or whatever, but I've seen a few of those kicking around. What you're really looking for is, for the collector's items, is the Jazz with these cutouts, and then the green or the blue. I think those are really the way to go. There's also a silver or chrome, whatever you want to call it. That's really handsome. So yeah, that is a Rotring Jazz. One of the cooler pens from the 90s. I definitely recommend picking one up as long as you don't plan on spending too much on it. You can find some good deals. So if you like these retro pen reviews, please let me know. If you think they're dumb because the pens are hard to find or expensive, whatever, please let me know as well. Thanks for watching.